going to be almost half a year. My name is Rovina Nimbalkar, and I'm the Executive Director at NAMI Santa Clara County. And I'm going to now pass on to Dawn Brown. She is the team lead of the Faithnet program. And Dawn Brown is going to be hosting the general meeting for today. So over to you, Dawn.
Thank you, Rovina, and good evening, everyone. Welcome to our first certified mental health friendly, stigma-free event. And this is so exciting for us because we've been on a journey to get here. Many of us, as you all know, are peers and family members, and our focus is to raise awareness for mental health and to create safe spaces for our worship, for our families, for us to feel included and to belong. And a lot of this work that we're doing today started with so many members that sit in your congregation that came to a family-to-family class or peer-to-peer class or attended a provider series and felt like this needs to be in my community. This needs to be in my church. And they've come back and they've reached out to you and you all have answered the call, and we are so grateful. And we thank everyone whose shoulders upon which we stand, from Rich Berryessa to Nava Statman and many, many others, Harold and others who have been tireless in ringing the bell of mental health awareness, stigma-free congregations. And I think one of the things that is so important for us is that this didn't start with a grant. It started with a desire and a small burning flame that said, we need to do something and we need to do something now. So our former executive director, Kathy Forward, being forward thinking, was able to get a grant from the landlord of which NAMI's offices are located. And we were able to start providing mental health luncheons. We did mental health 101 luncheons, and folks came, and we worked part-time. It wasn't a big thing. It was mostly volunteer, and we were just focused on raising awareness. And it expanded. We wanted to expand into underserved communities. We wanted to expand into other communities. And so we applied for a grant through the Santa Clara County Department of Behavioral Health. And we were able to get accepted, and we work now with Rebecca Cardenas, and we work with MHSA. The grant is actually made possible through MHSA, and Santa Clara County Behavioral Health and MHSA aren't the only culprits in this journey with us. We also stand alongside RDA with Gina and Stephanie, as they've been really tantamount in helping us gather data. I think one of the things that I've said earlier is that, our team has been really, really focused on creating awareness across various communities. And so I want to take a moment to introduce our team and introduce the amazing family that I sit with every single week to provide this opportunity to create this space. So I'd like to start with the leadership team with Kathy Forward.
Hi, everybody.
Reverend Cindy McCalmont.
Hello.
And I'll introduce our team, and our team is going to actually greet you in their native language. So I'm going to start with Lillian Liu and Andrew Yi, who are serving our Chinese outreach community.
大家晚上好，欢迎到这里来。
大家晚上好，我很高兴你们能参加我们今天晚上的 general meeting.
Thank you, Lillian, Andrew. We also have serving the Korean Faithnet community is Michelle Ju and Doug Cho. And Doug will not be here today, but you will hear from Michelle.
안녕하세요. 반갑습니다.
Thank you so much, Michelle. Serving our Latino community is Erica Alvarez Hernandez, who is not here with us today. She's teaching a class, actually. The work doesn't stop. And Lourdes, her counterpart, Lourdes Robles. Lourdes?
Buenas noches todos, bienvenidos.
Thank you, Lourdes. And serving as our producer for the evening is Michael Legaspi, and he works with Edmund Ibarra. And although he is not able to chime in because he's working the slides and doing all these things, we are so grateful, Michael, for all of the work that you are doing to make sure that we're able to do this successfully. I also want to acknowledge a member of our leadership team, and I don't know if she's here tonight, but she has been instrumental in creating this amazing logo that you see on the screen, the brain logo, and her name is Kristen Colino. If Kristen is on, I'm just going to invite her as I snap her up. That's what we do here. We snap people up. As I snap up Kristen and ask her to say hi. If you're here, Kristen, if not, that's okay.
I'm here. Hi. I'm in the shadows.
Thank you. She is never see, you cannot get rid of NAMI, folks. We just either we stay in your face or we stay in the shadows. So thank you so much, Kristen. As I mentioned earlier, you know, our focus for the Faithnet community is really to create an educational opportunity for pastors and faith leaders. And I mentioned earlier, we did it through our Mental Health 101 monthly trainings on the fourth Thursday of every month, of which you all are always invited. And the other is that we do an education series. And the education series is something that we're doing the second Thursday of every month. And when we send out information, just know that you'll get information on how to sign up for the series. One of the things that people ask a lot is, how do you become a mental health friendly, stigma-free congregation? What do you do? What's involved? Because it just seems like a lot. And so our leadership team, in partnership with our amazing community, came up with these different processes that you can do. And some of them, we call them, you know, be empowered, where you can sponsor a NAMI walk, which is coming up. So we encourage everybody to get a walk team together. Start a mental health friendly ministry in your community. Many of you are already doing that, and others are on your way. So we thank you in advance. Create a PSA. And then there's more. There are other things that you can do. So that's just one section of Be Empowered. We have Be Vocal, where, next slide, please. Right, where, well, Be Aware, where you can meet with the NAMI Faithnet staff, attend a Faithnet luncheon, which many of you also have done. You can be educated, hold a NAMI in your own voice, a NAMI Ending the Silence, suicide prevention training, either hosted in your congregation, or you can be vocal, preach a sermon and share the wisdom of walking with a unique vibration by sharing a testimonial in the sermon and during worship. So these are just some of the ways that you can do this, and reach out to any one of the individuals that I shared on the team, because they are all willing and looking forward to helping you in accomplishing this. One of the things that we do also like to do is we like to also honor those individuals who have suffered a loss, and we want to do that tonight too. The National Action Alliance for Suicide Prevention is holding an upcoming National Weekend of Prayer for Faith, Hope, and Life. And it's going to be May 14th through the 16th. And we have invited Lourdes Robles to speak, as she lost her daughter. Her daughter died by suicide, and she's going to share. And I'm going to ask that we offer up a moment of silence as she prays before we begin. Lourdes?
Having lost my daughter to suicide last August, this coming weekend has special meaning for me. As a Catholic, I was taught to believe that suicide was a mortal sin, until I read what St. John Paul II wrote in the Catechism of the Catholic Church. Grave psychological disturbances, anguish, or grave fear of hardship, suffering, or torture can diminish the responsibility of the one dying by suicide. We should not despair of the eternal salvation of persons who have taken their own lives. El haber perdido a mi hija el pasado agosto por suicidio hace que este fin de semana sea particularmente especial para mí. Como católica, se me inculcó que el suicidio era un pecado mortal. hasta que leí lo que el Santo Juan Pablo II en el Catecismo de la Iglesia Católica nos compartió. Graves perturbaciones psicológicas, angustia o temor grave de privación, sufrimiento o tortura puede disminuir la responsabilidad del que muere por suicidio. No debemos desesperarnos por la eterna salvación de los que deciden tomar su vida. Let us bow our heads and pray for the loved ones lost to suicide, in particular during COVID. Inclinamos nuestras cabezas y oremos por los seres queridos que hemos perdido al suicidio, en particularmente durante COVID. Lord God, we join in prayer, brothers and sisters all, to ask that you receive our loved ones who, full of despair and sadness, decided to join you to receive the succor only you could give them. We ask that you give those of us left behind peace and acceptance, that being in your loving arms, they are finally safe and happy. Señor, nos unimos en oración, hermanos todos, para pedir que recibas a nuestros seres queridos, quienes llenos de desesperación y tristeza decidieron unirse a ti para recibir el socorro que solo tú podrías darles. Te pedimos que les des a nosotros que nos quedamos aquí paz y aceptación, para que, sabiendo que en tus brazos amorosos por fin se encuentran seguros y felices. Amén.
Faithful people aren't honored enough. Faithful people like Lourdes, who has turned by the grace of God heartbreaking loss into blessing. Faithful communities aren't honored enough. Communities that are opening their doors and their hearts to people with mental health issues and their families. Faithful communities like Congregation Beth Am. For the past 16 years, Congregation Beth Am has hosted a support group for people with mental illnesses. For those 16 years, they've made a profound difference in the lives of so many people. And tonight, we are so happy to show you a part of a movie that they have produced that tells about their journey. So we're going to watch the first 8 minutes.
Marcus, the president of our sisterhood, Beth Am Women, steps forward to give the sermon. Jane is a powerhouse. She's a bright, forceful, articulate, highly admired member of the congregation. She is a leader. And she says on that night, I'm a person who has lived with depression. I'm a person who has struggled. I have felt alone at times in my life. She opens her life, she opens her heart to the congregation and speaks from the heart. And it's a revelation. People are blown away. How could this leader of the congregation be also a person who has struggled with mental illness? At the end of the sermon, she is surrounded by people who tell her, thank you for your courage, and we want to do more. And that was the genesis of Beit R'fuah and all our congregation's efforts to bring support to those who live with mental illness.
For the past 2 years, I've been a research assistant with the Stanford Center for Information Technology.
After Jane Marcus told her story to the congregation, and people were very excited that she had brought this topic up, she was going to spearhead in the next 5 months a mental health conference at Beth Am, which would ultimately lead to the birth of Beit R'fuah. and a new template for a way for other congregations to address these issues of mental illness.
The problem of mental illness is a huge problem in our culture, and we're not dealing with it successfully on a global basis. And what I'm hoping is that we can look at it on a community basis and get our communities to deal with the problem of stigma face to face across the dinner table. Realize that the person sitting next to you might have a history of depression in the family, as I do, and that's why my own family experience feeds my desire to learn more and to help people more and to recognize that it's in every family.
Jane suffered very much from her illness, and she wanted to reach out to others and help them so they didn't have to suffer as she did. It was her commitment, it was her focus, it was her passion.
Parshat Balak by Jane Marcus on July 15th, 2005. 16 years ago, I suffered a major depression. It wasn't an overnight thing, but the lowest point of a gradual, at times imperceptible, but inexorable 3-year spiral into darkness, into madness. At the time, I didn't know what was happening to me. I was, I thought, a well-adjusted person, an upper-middle-class, successful Jewish professional, happily married, the mother of an 8-year-old son and a 3-year-old daughter. I didn't seek treatment for a long time, and when I did, it was around the edges of real medical help. As the shadow of untreated depression settled over me, I became increasingly overwhelmed by sadness, hopelessness, and the inability to cope with my life. The insidious part of this illness, caused by a chemical imbalance in the brain, is that it's your mind and behavior that are affected. Eventually, with the help of a compassionate, skilled, and dedicated physician, I was able to find my way back. And I came back much better, attaining a new perspective and an inner peace that I had never known existed. Since my recovery, I've taken on as a personal commitment the mitzvah of helping others climb their way out of the dark gray pit in which this disease drops you. It's a blessing to see those with whom I've shared my experience once again at peace, productive, and enjoying life. I hope that by telling my story, I can be an opinion leader, a change agent, someone whose message can be heard and responded to. I'm extremely thankful that Beth Am Women has chosen to focus its attention this year on the topic of mental illness.
Jane didn't tell her story that night to get kudos or attention. It was a very hard thing for her to do. She gave this sermon so that she could show people that recovery is possible with the right help and support. Soon after giving her talk, she helped organize a Beth Am conference on how the Jewish community can better support those affected by mental illness. Soon after, she helped create Beit R'fuah, our house of healing, a support group that continues to this day. I want to honor Jane for having the strength to reveal her vulnerability that night and for continuing to support the vulnerable in all the years since, opening our eyes in dramatic fashion to a devastating challenge that we had too long ignored.
I think it is extremely significant that Beit R'fuah was created by Beth Am members and is held here at Beth Am, because I think it sends a powerful message both to the participants in Beit R'fuah and also to the whole community. It says that you can bring your whole self to this place, to this synagogue, and that you bring all of your struggles and joys, and that this place is here to support you.
Synagogues and Jewish community, they are needed in such a deep way around these issues of mental health and mental well-being. I also think that there are things about the rhythm of the Jewish year, Jewish holidays, Shabbat in particular, the radical notion of taking a day to rest and to reflect and to be with friends and family. How beautiful is that? We probably need that more than ever right now.
Having a Beit R'fuah in a synagogue is, I mean, it makes, where else would it be? You know, where else would it be? Where else in our society is there a place that says l'chaim and holiness is at the core of who we are and what we're about and what life's about? This is Jewish tradition, and the synagogue is that kind of a place.
It has brought out my Judaism, Beit R'fuah, because connections to Jewish things, especially with mental health, which has been my main focus throughout my life, have been extremely important to me. So has it helped? Certainly.
So the whole community gains by having a Jewish support group within their own community. And that's why we love the fact that Beth Am has started this.
What a wonderful tribute to the work at Beth Am. If you want to see the entire film, because this is just 8 minutes of it, it is on our website under the Faithnet. A very important part of the work that we do is sharing our lived experiences. And we're very fortunate tonight to have two of our team members, Vincent and Kyle, who are going to share their stories and the importance of their faith as part of their wellness and recovery.
Vincent, and I'm here to share with you my story about my family's journey with mental health. So a little bit about myself. I'm currently in graduate school right now, and I have aspirations to become a therapist. My long-term goal is to be able to serve Asian American families. And this motivation and aspiration, it has its origins within my own family struggle with mental health. So I come here today as a family member. I'm an older brother to a sister living with major depressive disorder. And within my immediate family, my sister was depressed for over a decade. And unfortunately, my family, we were not able to recognize the signs until it was almost too late. At age 17, my sister attempted suicide. And fortunately, she survived and she's still with us today. And I want to talk about my family identity because I believe it has a lot to do with why it was so difficult for our family to see the signs. First off, we are a Vietnamese family, Vietnamese American family, and, or at least my sister and I were Vietnamese American. My parents are Vietnamese immigrants. And there's a lot of stigma and ignorance within mental health and within the Vietnamese community right now that makes it kind of difficult to navigate this topic. And a second piece of our identity too is we're Catholic. We were brought up, my sister and I, we were brought up in the church. We would go every Saturday. And a part of growing up in a Catholic church is faith sharing. And that involved sharing with other people our experience. And I can recall overhearing sometimes that about whenever my sister would share about her struggle and her pain, she would have her faith leaders respond to her with unsolicited Bible verses, and that was not what she needed. Oftentimes they would say, hey, try reading this verse, try praying more, that might take care of your problems. However, now I've come to learn that that wasn't helpful, and there's actually a term for this that's called spiritual bypassing. And spiritual bypassing is when we take a mental health issue and we overgeneralize and over-spiritualize a mental health issue, and that is dismissive and invalidating, and I'm pretty sure that wasn't helpful. What she really needed was some deep listening and some empathy. That would have been a lot better than unsolicited Bible verses. And another thing too, aside from family, is just this, I guess in our American culture, there's a lot of toxic positivity. And that's a belief that only feelings that are positive, they're the only feelings that are worth having. And anything that's unpleasant needs to be stuffed, dismissed, and and rid of. And toxic positivity can sound like this. Hey, so-and-so, have you tried looking on the bright side? Hey, you know what? I hear what you're going through, but it could be a lot worse. Hey, this area, it's good vibes only. And if you could think more positively, maybe you wouldn't be depressed. So all of those things are things I've actually heard within the parish, and outside of the parish too. It's just society. We are very uncomfortable with unpleasant feelings, and ultimately, this causes us to vilify unpleasant feelings, and this ultimately makes us unable to honor the full human experience. And that's actually what people who struggle with mental health need. We need our full human experience to be honored and to be seen, heard, and validated. So toxic positivity, not a good thing. Don't do it. So, and I'm pretty sure all of the people who impacted my sister's mental health in a negative way had good intentions, these faith leaders. However, intention and impacts are two different things. And another point that I'd like to bring up is that mental health and spirituality can indeed intersect. Within my 29 years belonging to a Catholic parish, I seldom heard about mental health being talked about as an area of interest or importance. However, now I'm seeing a lot of change. Within my own work at Faithnet, at NAMI, I've been doing a lot of good work with these parishes, and I would not be able to do these workshops, these mental health workshops at these parishes, if these parishes did not see mental health as something that was important. And to name a few, St. Francis of Assisi and St. Lucy from the Bay Area, they've been welcoming us with open arms. And I believe that we're living in a time, this tells me we're living in a time where spirituality and mental health can be integrated into a treatment plan. And I want to share with everyone that there is a lot of hope too. Mental health is treatable, and the earlier the better. My sister is doing much better now, and she's able to continue with her education and even hold a part-time job. My family is more supportive and understanding of her experience, and a lot of another point that I want to share too is I believe a lot of our family pain could have been prevented, and that's why I believe that education and access to resources are so important. And one thing I'd like to close with is, because you're here today, because you're watching this video today, I believe a lot of unnecessary suffering can be avoided and healing can instead take its place. Lives can be saved as well. So thank you for choosing to be here. I believe that all of us, faith leaders, can play a key part in bridging the gap between mental illness and mental wellness within our own faith communities. And I'm just seeing so many mental health, what is the term? These mental health ministries, there you go, mental health ministries. There's so many mental health ministries that are being created. I believe there's around 9 or 10 within the San Jose Diocese. So that tells me there's a lot of hope. And that tells me that faith leaders are taking ownership of advocating for their community. So with that being said, thank you for watching, and thank you for everything that you do as faith leaders. I have a lot of hope for us. I have a lot of hope for our community. And with that being said, I believe we're in a good place right now. And we have a lot of momentum, and I'm excited to see what's within the future for us. That's all for now. Thank you for listening to my story and my family story. And yeah, that's all.
This young man with schizophrenia has been asked to make a video about how his religion, the Baha'i faith community, has learned about mental health. But he doesn't know how to say what there is to say. He doesn't even know where to begin. What have we learned? This young man with schizophrenia has been walking a path of recovery for over 6 years now, and has learned some stuff along the way. But by no means is an expert or authority on mental illness or the Baha'i faith. But there's got to be something from his experience he can share. So this young man with schizophrenia just starts with something he knows how to do. He goes on a walk. There's some construction by his apartment. It's noisy, but it's truly incredible what humans can build now. And so quickly, too. I'm glad my mind isn't that noisy. Maybe he could talk about how he was in college when he first started experiencing symptoms. No one knew what the hell was going on back then. Time loops, jamais vu, creatures from the void that would watch him and whisper, his sense of impending reality, annihilation. Or about the times where he could neither sleep, think clearly, pray, or even read. He didn't even leave his room for weeks at a time. And the experiences with depression and isolation, an inability not to feel joy at all. As he thinks about his experience with his faith community, he is brought to both gratitude and frustration. Gratitude for the friends who supported him, checked in, prayed for him at the shrines in the Holy Land. Gratitude for his girlfriend at the time, who stopped him from dying by suicide a few times. She also helped coordinate other members of the community to support him more. It helped a little. And gratitude for the prayers said religiously every day on his behalf. And a special gratitude for the faith leader that reached out and told him about a pre-psychosis clinic. And gratitude for all the friends he made during those early treatment years. And those countless doctors and therapists. And the frustration. Frustration for the lack of clarity about what to do when one experiences symptoms like these. For the support he could have used but never got. Frustration with having to leave his faith community, lose his girlfriend, and drop out of university in San Diego to come back home. He remembers the times of such despair for him and his family. His mom says it was the hardest thing she's ever had to face in her life. My mom is one of the strongest women I know. Or about the time spent pacing back and forth in locked psych wards. Or the times he was handcuffed by police in the back of a cop car or chained down to a gurney. Frustration about the countless medications he tried and some of their terrible side effects. That truly was the worst. And also difficult for this young man to stomach is the ignorance and prejudice about schizophrenia. But this young man has seen sunlight. In Sunnyvale, this young man's community is learning about how to support each other in their mental health. Most everyone he knows has something to share and something to learn when it comes to mental health. A while ago, some other youth in his community got together and formed a support group. Now they're starting a community prayer gathering focused on mental health, which includes Catholics, Christians, Muslims, Jews, Hindus, Baha'is, and atheists. The diversity of experiences has been a source of strength for this young man with schizophrenia. The local Baha'i Spiritual Assembly has even helped support him financially as he tries to rebuild his life. And he's taken care not to see himself as a mental health issue. I've been walking for a while, and I still don't know how to say what there is to say. And I guess I have already begun, but it's hard not to want the end of saying something to be another beginning of what there is left to say. So I guess I'll say this for now. There is a growing realization in people around the world that the decades ahead will bring us all the most daunting challenges that humanity has ever had to face before. 2020 was a year that helped this young man realize the significance of this time in human history. And yes, he has been diagnosed with schizophrenia, but most of the tests here in the Western world, particularly in the United States, will probably be of the mental variety. But these mental tests will help us all grow stronger and more connected. Kind of like a redwood tree, whose roots are so shallow that they have to hold each other up so no one falls over. That's why they grow close to each other. This young man with schizophrenia loves the redwood trees in California.
The power of our stories, of our lived experience. When we do our Mental Health 101 monthly presentations, we sit in silence for a few seconds after people have shared these personal stories. The silence is a way to express our gratitude. I ask that you join me now in silence for the stories that you've heard from Lourdes, Vincent, and Kyle. Deep breath. We are here tonight to celebrate faith communities in Santa Clara County who've actively want to do more to support people like Kyle, Vincent, Lourdes, and their families. We hope as we go through these slides, you will celebrate each unique faith community and perhaps even learn some new ways of becoming a mental health friendly, stigma-free congregation. So pass it on to my team who will be sharing the slides.
Antioch Baptist Church. Pastor Fanny Davis is a staple at Antioch Baptist Church. Under her guidance, the church serves the African ancestry community, often in partnership with African American Community Services Agency. The Antioch Baptist leadership team has been instrumental in creating a wellness ministry aimed at destigmatizing mental health. They've held trainings and workshops, participated in a NAMI walk, collected mental health resources, provided referrals and access to local community agencies, held a wellness fair addressing mental health, presented a resource table, and invited mental health professionals to speak to the congregation. Food was provided and mental health and wellness workshops were developed specifically for the elders. Antioch Baptist Church provides education and support to individuals caring for an aging family member and create safe spaces that destigmatize destigmatizing conversations on mental health, wellness, aging, and support.
Bible Way Christian Center. Bible Way Christian Center has made it their mission to connect with the communities in ways that promote long-term healing. Under the leadership of Pastor Oscar and Jenna Stace, Bible Way Christian Center is creating mental health friendly, stigma-free spaces by ensuring the most vulnerable are heard, valued, and respected. They have hosted wellness fairs that include mental health, provided space for reentry programs that help previously incarcerated individuals get back on their feet, and created Destiny Academy, a program that supports the congregation and community with tutoring, therapeutic, and family support services. Bible Way Christian Center works diligently to provide group therapy sessions and cancer support groups, monthly food and toiletry distribution to homeless encampments, groceries to those who are hungry, and free hot meals to anyone who shows up on Sunday. They practice putting hands and feet on their faith to reach out to those in need. They are kingdom builders and life changers. I would like to share the next community with you. It's Christ the Good Shepherd Lutheran Church. Christ the Good Shepherd's ongoing commitment to mental health is evident in the brochures it provides in the narthex, in sermons, and in prayers, such as on World Suicide Prevention Day. We prayed for those who have been touched by suicide, those who are dealing with mental health concerns and feelings of hopelessness, and for the people who love and care for them. In addition, the church hosted a mental health training called The Art of Facilitating Self-Determination for Lutheran pastors from 7 churches in the Bay Area, used by NAMI Santa Clara County to train peer mentors working with people coming out of psychiatric hospitalizations. The workshop challenges a tendency to want to fix, save, advise, or set straight those with mental health conditions, and instead enter into relationships in a way that stimulate critical thinking and self-directed growth. The next community is Congregation Beth Am. Congregation Beth Am started Beit R'fuah, House of Healing, 16 years ago. The group began with breaking of challah bread and a communal meal, and then moved into a time of meditation, sharing, and singing. Beit R'fuah offers profound hope and connection for those with mental health challenges and their families. The congregation hopes the movie they just produced will be a way to share the Beit R'fuah model with other faith communities. Emmanuel Baptist Church. Senior Pastor Jason Reynolds has expanded the impact Emmanuel Baptist Church is having in the community. Through sermons focused on mental health, wellness, and well-being, he continues to normalize uncomfortable conversation. In addition to providing health fairs and workshops addressing mental health, he was a keynote speaker at the 2019 Pastors Mental Health Symposium, kicked off the 2020 NAMI Walk, and is leading a mental health-focused after-school program to bring awareness to youth and young adults. Aware of the impact COVID has had on the community's mental health, Emmanuel Baptist Church has become a testing and vaccine center for the community. The congregation also continually share mental health crisis resources and will soon provide brief cohorts for its members to address the continued loss that has occurred during the pandemic. Pastor Jason Reynolds truly has a heart for people and is making an impact in the community.
The next community is the Father's House. Pastors Carl and Penny are the cornerstone for the Father's House International. They've created a culture of inclusion that transcends multiple communities. The work includes supporting the homeless in the community by providing space where homeless individuals and families can use their parking lot as a safe space to rest and are invited to hear the word and fellowship with the congregation regularly. Their mental health and recovery ministries guide the church's daily interactions, creating an atmosphere of acceptance and inclusion. They've attended the NAMI Faithnet luncheon, held suicide prevention trainings, preached sermons on mental health, hosted and helped develop the 2019 Pastors Mental Health Symposium to serve pastors and faith leaders. They've also shared crisis information and referred members to NAMI. Prior to COVID, they visited church members in behavioral health units and welcomed them with open arms upon their return. The Father's House includes a Spanish-speaking service under the direction of Pastor Mario and has helped plant a church in India. They continue to expand their community partnerships to better serve the congregation. The next community is the First Unitarian Church of San Jose. First Unitarian seeks to spend time every year growing wiser, more informed, and more holistic in the area of mental wellness and neurodiversity. The congregation regularly invites people to share their lived experience in worship and also explores topics related to mental health, such as the Americans with Disabilities Act. One Sunday each month, the church gives its entire offering to a community organization whose work aligns with their core belief of the inherent worth and dignity of every person. And more than once, NAMI has been the beneficiary of this offering. First Unitarian doesn't shy away from those with chronic mental health issues. They seek to walk alongside, learning as they do how to provide support as well as how to work in tandem with mental health professionals. The church, for example, has research therapists in the area and keeps an updated list of recommended ones. Perhaps most important of all, First Unitarian sings, as members did at the annual Homeless Persons Interfaith Memorial Service, bringing their hope for the beloved community we might one day become. The next community is Greater Cooper AMU Zion. Greater Cooper is doing its part as a community and covenant of faith to eradicate the stigma that surrounds mental illness in the African ancestry community. Under the leadership of Pastor Jawad Love, the congregation has started a Serenity Healing Garden where people can go meditate and or pray to calm an anxious mind, built a mental health library, invited mental health professionals to speak to the congregation, shared testimonials during worship, and created a PSA. In addition to supporting their members, they also invite local college athletes to dine with the pastor and First Lady to discuss mental health and how to connect to services. Their commitment to the congregation and the community is to provide quality mental health support through community partnerships. The next faith community is Holy Redeemer Lutheran Church. Holy Redeemer has promoted suicide prevention training for its members and will be asking each member to read a document entitled Navigating a Mental Health Crisis. Situated as it is on the Alameda, Holy Redeemer frequently has people with mental health symptoms wander in on Sunday mornings. Members seek to welcome and connect with their visitors, and when necessary, know how to get them help. This month, the congregation is also praying about mental health each week, including praying for the Santa Clara County Board of Supervisors as they make a decision about Laura's Law.
We continue with Holy Spirit Catholic Church. After 3 suicides devastated the Holy Spirit congregation, the church created a suicide bereavement support group called Out of the Wilderness. These heartbreaking losses also led the parish to create educational events, such as a Sunday afternoon presentation called Mental Health Matters, and to publish regular articles on mental health in bulletins and newsletters and on its website. Articles such as Anxiety at Any Age, Depression in Seniors, and the Generosity of Self-Care. Holy Spirit has added books on mental health to its library and is preparing to launch more support groups using materials from Grace Alliance for those suffering from mental illness or addiction, as well as their families. The ultimate goal of the congregation is captured in the words of medieval mystic Mechtild of Magdeburg. How should one live? Welcoming to all. We continue with Kingdom Worship Center International. 20 years ago, under the leadership of Pastors Teresa Tate and Donna Edwards, Godly Girl Network was created. The intention was to bring together women of God to hear God's word, pray, and be encouraged. 3 years ago, this healing space for women led to the founding of Kingdom Worship Center International. Under the leadership of Pastor Tate, Kingdom Worship has incorporated mental health education and awareness through monthly workshops and trainings to support mental wellness and conscious recovery, community outreach, and support for individuals living with a mental illness. Hygiene kits, food, blankets, and clothing are regularly provided. Clinical resources, how to navigate the mental health system, life support skills, suicide prevention material, and crisis hotline information are continuously shared with congregation. Kingdom Worship also hosts mental health conferences and fairs for the congregation and community, where they continue to share a message of hope and remind the congregation that they are not alone. We also have Peninsula Bible Church Cupertino. Peninsula Bible Church Cupertino began its mental health ministry with a forum in which a psychiatrist, a therapist, and a person with a mental health diagnosis were interviewed. The forum was so well received that it was followed by a second forum. The church has also had 3 In Our Own Voice presentations for adults and 1 Ending the Silence presentation for high school youth. In addition, the church has sponsored 2 13-week depression support groups. We continue with Prince of Peace Lutheran Church. With its rotating safe car park, Prince of Peace Lutheran Church has created a model of hospitality for people living in their vehicles in Santa Clara County. In order to best serve its guests, many of whom have mental health challenges, the congregation is engaged in an ongoing process of learning everything they can about mental health and resources for recovery. From that learning, they have compiled an extraordinary list not only of local resources, like mental health clinics and peer support community centers, but of phone apps too, like Breathe to Relax, Bipolar Disorder Connect, and Self-Help for Anxiety Management.
And next we have RCCG, Jesus House Silicon Valley. When Pastor Asoba Bayo came to the United States from Nigeria, he wasn't sure where he would land, but he knew God would provide. He continues to rely on God to guide his every step and has made a commitment to the Nigerian community to ensure healing and wholeness abound. RCCG Jesus House has made mental health a priority. Under Pastor Bayo's direction, Jesus House has invited mental health professionals to speak, train, and lead workshops, started a mental health friendly ministry, built a mental health library, collected local resources, and provided space for recovery programs. Pastor Bayo is committed to the mental health of both the church leadership and the congregation, and helped put on the 2019 Pastors Mental Health Symposium. Jesus House remains a bridge for the Nigerian community and a beacon of hope for individuals managing their mental health. Next is St. Francis of Assisi's Catholic Church. St. Francis established 3Gen Plus mental health ministry to serve the 3 generations, youth, parents, and elders, and everyone in between. The mission of 3Gen Plus is to educate, advocate, and accompany those affected by mental illness. Some goals include 1, to end the silence about talking about real and painful feelings and real and painful illness. 2, to empower staff and volunteers to serve with confidence and competence the emotional and spiritual needs of parish members. 3, to encourage the clergy to preach about mental and emotional health and the roles of faith and spirituality in well-being and wholeness. And 4, to draw the Catholic wisdom on the power of centering and grounding in prayer. Next, we have St. Lucie Catholic Church. During the pandemic, St. Lucie created a virtual support group called Hope and Healing. One participant said, "We delve deep sometimes into issues that make us feel vulnerable, but I'm comfortable we have a sacred space in which to share." St. Lucie has also helped to host showings of the films Angst and Like, with panel discussions on mental health afterwards. In addition to observing Mental Health Awareness Month with homilies and prayers, St. Lucie's continues to provide mental health trainings for its members, including Mental Health 101, In Our Own Voice, and Be Sensitive, Be Brave. Santa Teresa Catholic Church. Santa Teresa displays its mental health ministry prominently on its website. For years, the congregation has faithfully participated in the annual NAMI walk, has held a candlelight prayer and vigil during Mental Health Awareness Week in October, has hosted speakers and film discussions on topics related to mental health, and has made brochures with mental health resources available after every Mass.
We continue with Venture Christian Church. Venture offers 3 mental health support groups, one for women, one for men, and one for families, called Living with Hope and Mental Illness. The groups are advertised like this: if mental illness has impacted you or your family, you're not alone. We provide spiritual encouragement and a place to belong. While our support groups are not a replacement for therapy, medication, or doctor visits, they are a safe place to find strength through connection with people on a similar journey. In addition to these groups, Venture has also produced a series of stunning videos that show members talking honestly about their mental health. These videos have been used as testimonials in worship. Next, we have Urban Sanctuary. Situated between City Hall and Martin Luther King Jr. Library in downtown San Jose, Urban Sanctuary has been on a journey of learning how to best serve its neighbors. At first, the congregation provided meals to those who were passing by with their backpacks and shopping carts, but the congregation saw that food, even lovingly prepared and distributed, did little to create change. The congregation went looking for a way to do more and found it in the Recovery Cafe model. Urban Sanctuary gave birth to Recovery Cafe San Jose, creating a dynamic community that empowers those healing from trauma, mental health challenges, substance abuse, and homelessness to achieve purpose and self-determination. The congregation also values the participation of all persons in the worship service, regardless of any physical or mental health struggle. All voices are welcomed at the microphone for prayer, to share stories, to speak freely in classes, and to actively participate in the life of the church. Last but not least, we have Westgate Church. Westgate Church cares deeply about mental health and well-being of its members, so much that it has developed a partnership with a Christian counseling center that provides discounted rates for congregants. In addition, Westgate pastors regularly preach on the topic of mental health, invite mental health professionals to lead seminars and workshops for the congregation, host a NAMI-led support group, and have incorporated learning about mental health into their discipleship programs to encourage a holistic approach to healing and growth.
Let me say congratulations to everyone who's been honored tonight. I think we've heard so many amazing stories of churches that and faith communities that are doing amazing things. When Vincent first spoke, he talked about spiritual bypassing, over spiritualizing a mental health issue, toxic positivity, belief that only positive feelings are worth having, and how when he discussed his sister, how we need human experiences to be validated. And with all of these examples, human experiences have been validated. And it starts with just one person. It starts with one person in the community who realizes we need to do more. We need to share more. We need to learn more. We need to link arms together, and we need to come together more. I'm going to ask actually Vincent if he would introduce himself and his team. I don't know if your whole team is here, Vincent, but I wanted to give you that honor.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Vincent. I think to make up for earlier, quick introduction. And if Anna, if you're here, Brandon, if you're here, spotlight is yours. And if not, if there's silence for too long, I assume that they're not here. Thank you.
Hello.
There she is.
Hey, Anna.
Hi. Thank you for having having the 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 getting together and share about faith and spirituality. It means a lot to all of us, and I'm grateful to be part of the Faithnet team.
Thank you so much. The Vietnamese Faithnet outreach team is comprised of Vincent No, Anna Nguyen, and Brandon Ha. Brandon is not able to make it, but he is here with us in spirit. I also want to take a moment just to punctuate something that Kyle said. He said that he doesn't want to see himself as a mental health issue. And that really touches upon what Vincent had said, we need human experiences. And one of the other things that Kyle said that really touched me was how the roots of a redwood are so shallow that they have to grow together to hold each other up. And I feel like this is what it is like to be in the Faithnet community, is that we really are together to hold each other up, to come together. And each of you here resemble that same quality, and we are so grateful. I sit in partnership with Kyle on the African Ancestry Faithnet outreach team, and the team is comprised of myself, Kyle, and Mbere Abere, and we cover the African American and African communities, and we are so grateful to be able to increase this dialogue among different communities. And as you see on the screen, there's a certificate that each one of you all will receive, that you will receive this certificate that acknowledges you as a mental health friendly, stigma-free congregation. And with this certificate, you will always also receive 3 of the stickers that are to your left. So that little blue image, that logo, is actually going to be a sticker that you could post in the congregation and let people know that you are deemed and certified as mental health friendly, stigma free. You'll also receive some ribbons, and we'll send additional information as well. And for those of you who are wondering, who do I talk to if I want to move forward? It said we had these, in the beginning, we talked about like, be vocal and be empowered and, you know, be educated. What are the things that we can do to become a mental health friendly, stigma-free congregation? And their next slide, I don't know if there we go. And so in addition to each one of these items that you can do, you could also reach out to a member of the Faithnet team and see if you can have a conversation, grab a cup of tea or coffee, and find out, you know, if you know of other pastors and faith leaders that are also wanting to become mental health friendly, stigma free. We want to sit down and we want to help link our roots together so that we can be stronger as we continue to grow together. And as I, you know, and I just want to punctuate this because, you know, it really takes only one person. And I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge Wes Mukayama. I don't even know if he's here tonight. If he is, I'm going to ask him to say hi. But he sits in a community, and their vision was that this would also be part of the education of pastors and faith leaders. Wes, are you around or no? Okay, but he works for the county, and we are grateful for his leadership. I want to open the conversation at this point to any questions that you all might have. And I don't know if Kyle is doing the slides or Michael, but I would like for you all to remove the slides and we can kind of just have a gallery view while questions are being answered by members of the team, if that's possible. Thank you so much. Thank you. Oh, I get to see all these lovely faces. It's so nice to see everyone. So I don't know if any questions have come up in the chat. I'm going to check right quick to see. There is a message about the safe car park presentation on May 13th. That's a part of our Pastor's Education series. The link has been put in the chat. Please take a moment to join us. It is part of the education series that I was telling you about. Any questions that you all have for any of us? Any comments? Don't be shy. Okay. You could either raise your hand or unmute yourself. Trying to see if we have any hands raised or.
Chris is
I wanted to say I'm very impressed
Chris.
at all of the work that has been going on the last 2 years in this. It's very impressive. Thank you so much for an inspiring evening. My kind of follow-up question is, I know the grant funding goes away shortly, but what's next, and how is NAMI going to continue supporting this work?
That's a great question. I'm going to let Kathy Forward answer that question.
Well, we know we're going to continue the work. We're hoping that the county will continue some funding with us, but our board is definitely behind, and we do have our NAMI walk, so we will be dedicating some funds to it. We had Faithnet before the grant, and so we will continue. And plus, the work is really in the hands of all of you, because you're the ones that make the changes. We just give you some tools to do that. So thank you.
Thank you, Kathy, and thank you, Chris. Anyone else? Questions or comments?
Vincent, I'm cheating and I'm Vietnamese. Thank you for speaking up for me. It's exactly what I've been through. I was diagnosed of MDD since 1991, and I still suffered until now because of all of the problems that you spoke of, about family unsupportive and our Vietnamese culture. We kind of don't accept mental health, don't recognize it. And thank you very much for speaking up. And I feel very comfortable having a Vietnamese in the Netflix, in that I can relate my problem and my issue to you. That I'm old, but I didn't have it because of the illness. I couldn't learn English as a second language formally, so I'm still have real problem. But you speak for me, so thank you very much. And and another Vietnamese, Anna Howin.
Yes.
So I feel very confident, very I feel like I'm connected, to the people that have the same culture with me. Yeah, so I may be among your parents who are Vietnamese immigrant. And thank you very much for doing the work, of very rare people that I for decades I couldn't find any support from people like you. Okay, now thank you very much for being part of this mental health workforce or advocates force.
Absolutely.
Thank
you so much. Thank you for sharing that. I want to just allow either Anna or Vincent if they wanted to respond.
I like to respond, and I cannot see names right now. I'm sorry. Can you? I'm sorry.
Tuyet.
Tuyet.
Yeah.
Tuyet.
Yeah.
Okay, Tuyet. I want to say it the right way. Thank you, Tuyet. Kamong Tuyet. Thank you so much for sharing with me, sharing with us all your experience about how your mental health journey, and how you just feel so I guess appreciative that people from our culture and our community are speaking up. And I think that's a huge reason why I'm passionate about this work. It's because there's a lot of work to be done within our Vietnamese Catholic faith community and even with the Buddhist community too. But I just wanted to say thank you for sharing that with me. A lot of times when I do the work, it's so that these moments can happen. It's the moments of, hey, someone that looks like me, someone that understands my culture, that it's nice to know that you feel represented. So thank you so much for speaking up and sharing with me. Do it.
Thank you.
And is there anything you want to add on to Anna?
Yeah. Can I speak in Vietnamese?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Yeah, cảm ơn cô đã đến đây rồi chia sẻ rồi chia sẻ những cái khó khăn của cô. Là người Việt Nam đó, cái này mình hơi khó hiểu. Tại trong cái phong tục của mình coi cái này mình không có mình không có biết phải đối diện với nó như thế nào á. Rồi khi mà mình không biết đối diện với nó như thế nào, mình làm như là mình muốn bỏ nó qua cho nó xong á. Rồi hay là mình đổ lỗi cho một cái gì đó, cho nên nó cũng khó khăn. Và con thấy cô có bị trầm cảm nặng mà cô vẫn đến đây, rồi tiếng Anh cô rất là giỏi, rồi rất là tốt, rồi con thấy con rất là hãnh diện có cô ở đây. Yeah. Yeah. I was just sharing with cô Tuyết that within the Vietnamese culture, we don't understand mental health, and because of the fact that we don't understand, we want to get rid of it by either bypassing it, ignoring it, or blaming it on someone. And the fact that she's here advocating for it, and the fact that even with MDD, she is learning English. Her English is perfect. And I'm very proud of her. I'm proud of myself as well, being Vietnamese and being here with all of us here today to talk about mental health. Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I think that's what, yes, I see somebody snapping, so I'm going to snap back. We tend to do that when we show our love. Thank you so much. Yes. And Anna, you said something that really touched my heart, and that is just about it not being accepted in the culture, in the community. And it reminds me, not just all of us have that across the board, but it also resonates in the African community as well. And I know Pastor Bayo, you are on, and I don't know if you wanted to say anything, knowing that you're trying to change the narrative in the Nigerian community as well.
Yeah. Thank you. Faithnet, thank you, NAMI. Thank you for putting this up. And I want to say that it's really awesome and it's a wonderful evening. It's so powerful. And I feel so blessed. And some of our church members also on the platform. And what an honor to what you guys are doing. It goes a long way to strengthen the issue of mental health, especially in the African culture. And like one of the speaker was talking when during the slideshow, and I think one of them was talking about the sister going through this, and the way we do it in the church and try to make it highly very spiritual. And I love the term he used, talking about spiritual overpass or spiritual bypass or something like that. And honestly, the same thing in the African culture, especially from Nigeria. We don't believe that this thing is real. And even if it's there, we want to attach it to a demon, and we believe that we want to roll out a lot of scripture to you. But coming to the United States of America and having met with Don Brown and Pastor Carl of Jesus, my father's house, some other faith people, Pastor Love, and during the 2019 conference, is an eye opener. And especially I remember one of the bishops actually sharing the experience of his own son. And this is something that in the African culture, it is something that you don't want to talk about. And even if it's happening, you want to tell people, oh, keep quiet, you got to pray about it. God understand. But as we begin to understand and study the Bible, we know that even the men of faith in the scriptures, some of them also had mental breakdown. And like I always say jokingly, Elijah was suffering from mental breakdown. He got to a point, he told God, he said, I'm not worthy, I want to die. He became suicidal after the battle with Jezebel, and it shows that he has a mental breakdown. He became suicidal. He doesn't feel he could carry on anymore. He told God, I want to die. and realizing this now, there is a better way of presenting this in our community. And the more we do this together, the more we bring people of different faith, different color, different nationality, and we are able to talk about it. Like you said, we got to speak out about this thing. And speaking out about it is going to bring a lot of healing, a lot of hope, and people can know that together we can do this and people can have wholeness. So to NAMI and to Faithnet together, every one of you, we want to say very, very big thank you. To all participating churches, we want to say thank you. For those of you who have shared your faith, we want to say thank you. I tell you, there is better days ahead, and we are going to do much more, and we're going to see more healing and restoration in our community. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I think somebody was raising their hand too, Nancy. Oh, there you are. Please.
Thank you so much. I'm the Reverend Nancy Palmer Jones. I'm the senior minister at the First Unitarian Church of San Jose. We are so honored, deeply moved to be part of this beautiful community of folks and to get to know some of you for the first time, and others of you are already our dear friends and partners. And gosh, huge fans of NAMI and of Faithnet. My question is, one of the things that we really love to do, have a passion for, and I think, you know, Unitarian Universalists, we show up. It's one of our things. Our brand is our mission is to make love visible in all we say and do. And
I love that.
And thank you. And so I'm wondering if I'm wondering two things. One, are there urgent issues that are showing up on a system-wide level, like at the state level, at the county level, at the city council level, that we can organize around? And then secondly, how can we remain in contact with each other so that we know when bills are up for a vote and can help support them and all of that sort of stuff?
Wow, that's a great question. And I'm going to defer to Kathy because I know she sits at the level where a lot of these conversations take place. And I'll hop on.
By passing the baton to Ravina.
By passing the...
And actually Frank Alioto, one of our board members, he's our legislative chair. He's on, I believe, tonight too. So we do try to keep people informed on our website, and there isn't something about Laura's Law this month. So if you can get to the Board of Supervisors and make public comment, then that would be great. And we will be posting more and more legislative things on the website. Also, if you join NAMI as a member, you will be getting legislative requests from the state and the national level, because the membership does that. So you can go to our site and join. We have a $5 membership. There's a $40 individual or $60 family. And that keeps you very informed on legislative issues as well. So, because it is important, very important that we do. And there are quite a few mental health initiatives. And so, you know, it is important for us to keep pushing ahead. Thanks to Senator Jim Bell. He was the pioneer that really got it going. And, you know, by the time he left his post, he's got lots of people up there in, you know, Sacramento following his lead. So thank you so much for bringing that up.
I think the other thing too that you brought up is maybe a possible directory or some kind of contact list where we can all stay in touch with each other. You all can stay. I'm sure you all have heard from other congregations that you may want to connect with. And so we can explore that too, creating a contact sheet that you all can share amongst each other, and you all can reach out to the pastors and faith leaders yourself. So if that seems amenable, we can kind of talk about that and get that out. Because right now, thank you. So you're like, yes, I sit with you. I mean, you know, we are stronger together in numbers. Any other questions? Oh, we have a hand raise here. Anna Marie. Yes.
This is me. First of all, I really want to congratulate every one of you. I think that this initiative is just amazing. to be able to help all members of the community. It could be kids, teenagers, young adults, grown-ups, seniors, which is extremely important. One of the things that I notice is that we have cultural issues that corresponds to every single group that we have. And that's very important to be vocal about our cultural issues. I'm from Mexico, and I know that in Mexico we are very strong. We want to be macho woman or macho man. So we are strong and we cannot show that we are weak. So we eat our feelings. And I think that Lourdes Robles, who is also Mexican and American, can understand what I'm trying to say. So we have different cultural aspects that in one way or another impacts the way we express that we are sick. And thinking about all this presentation, I think that is very important to understand and to be vocal and transparent about what are the elements that stop us to be able to be open and to be transparent. So if we want to make a change in our communities, if we want to make a change in the stigma, my suggestion is to recognize what we have as part of our cultural background. Because once that we understand that, I think that it's going to be easier to really be open to this. You are right. This shouldn't be a stigma. It's an illness. And we are trying to create awareness. But that awareness is going to be a stop because of the cultural background. Mm-hmm. So one of the things, this is amazing. So I just want to say, thank you so much. Let's take into account the cultural background and the values that can create a stoppage for this transparency that we want to create.
Absolutely. I want to add a little something, but before I do, I don't know if Lourdes wants to respond first. Yeah.
Thank you, Ana Maria. Yes, Ana Maria and I go back quite a few years.
Oh.
And it's something that we have continually discussed. It was for Vincent to invite us to do a presentation for the Latino community at St. Thomas Aquinas in Palo Alto was so rewarding. Mm-hmm. Because as Ana Maria says, yes, that's why we have Faithnet, and that's why we have all of these communities represented who need that support and who need people with their own face, they can identify with them and they can feel more comfortable and understand better what mental health is, what a mental health diagnosis is. So I just want to say that working with the Faithnet community, with this Faithnet group, for me, came at the perfect time. I joined them before my daughter passed away, so they knew you all knew a little bit about my daughter. And after she died, I could not have received better support than all of NAMI was wonderful, but knowing that there was a place where I could discuss my faith and how it was helping me and how I could be stronger through my faith was the ultimate type of support that I could ever have. And I have a family member who's joining from Mexico, my cousin Angelica, who shared that moment with me, who was with me through all of this also. Mm-hmm. And I just wanted her to see what NAMI is doing here in the United States, what NAMI does for all of us, and hopefully, with that, be able to continue. We have our faith community here. We have this here. Well, let's share it with our family members that are coming from the other country, those immigrants that we have, the family members that are not in this country with us, but thanks to technology, we can communicate with them. And definitely when we have a cultural perspective of everyone around us, and it's not only our community, but all these other communities, I really have realized through my stay here and through the contact with the community that I have become involved with in San Jose, we're not different. We are not different at all. And the comparison that Kyle made of the redwood trees, it doesn't make any difference where we're from. There's one thing that is very important that we all have, and it's our faith, and it's our family, and it's the fun that we all have as family. If we could continue with that, you know, and family is you, Dawn. You are my NAMI family, just as Vincent is, just as Michael and Edmund and Anna and Michelle. You're all my family because we all understand the same thing. Mental illness will affect everyone, no matter what community you're from. And ultimately, we all came from Adam and Eve, so we're all brothers and sisters, no matter what. So, you know, let's join together now. Let's work together now and bring our culture. I love Vietnamese food. I have been introduced to some South African food by my sister, Moroccan food from one of my cousins. So even though I am from Mexico, our family is international too, and we're all family. So I love what Pastor Adebayo said also. It was so beautiful to realize that there are passages in the Bible that and saints that we have read about that also have had some type of mental well, not diagnosis, but yes, some sort of mental condition if we really read into it. And you know, I firmly believe what St. John Paul II said, from the bridge to the water, there's that moment where we always ask for forgiveness when something is happening in our lives. And whether we do accomplish our wanting to go to his arms, sometimes we don't. We catch ourselves because we suddenly realize, I still have something to do here. I have a purpose here. And NAMI, Faithnet has given me that purpose. So thank you, all of you. Thank you, Ana Maria, for joining us today and for joining with me to continue this labor of love with our community and all other communities. Thank you, Dawn.
Thank you. I'm here for all of you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I asked Michael to put this slide up so that if you want to reach out to any one of the members of our team, we are all family. We are family in a shared experience, and we cannot forget that. It doesn't matter what our background is. We share an experience. We are family members. We are individuals with a lived experience. We are loving someone, living with a unique vibration. I call it their superpower. We are living with superpowers, and we need support. And so if there's somebody on this list that you think, I need to reach out to that person, please take a screenshot and reach out to them, send an email. We are happy to come into the community, into your congregation, do a training, have some coffee, talk about the work, invite you in when we get back into the office after the COVID restrictions have been lifted, but invite you in to take advantage of our resources. So we thank you so much for coming. We congratulate everyone who has been certified. And we know that there are many more who are on the way. They're right around the corner. And so we want to say, keep going forward, because we are here rooting you on and here to support you. Kathy, Cindy, I know we're a minute over, but I wanted to extend to see if Kathy or Cindy wanted to say anything.
I think all of you said it all, you know, and just keep up the good work. And yes, we are all family. We need each other.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You all have a great evening, and we look to see you soon.